Back on Steel and Vance, and boy, Lynda, this in a series of unnerving situations was so rattling to the core for so many of us in British Columbia, across the country for that matter, when a 17-year-old was murdered on a bus.
Yeah, and you know what? We've seen way too many situations where there's violence on public transit. In fact, we were, which video? Is that the right video? Because then there was the neck slashing and someone charged with terrorism offenses around an ISIS plot or something. Anyway, it's been happening way too often. In the video we just showed you, that was a 17-year-old. They have arrested someone, a 20-year-old has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. They did know each other somehow. We don't really know what the motive was, but it keeps on going because then there was another stabbing on transit over the weekend, and then we had the throat slashing before that. So people are freaked out to the point where there's this meme that is going around that I saw the other day. Probably not funny if you're a member of the transit police, but this is happening too often for a lot of people's liking. So we thought it would be important for us to bring in someone who could put this into context for us.
Perspective is really required here. So we're bringing in the chief of the transit police. Dave Jones is with us. Hi, Chief. Nice to have you on.
Hi, and thanks for having me here today.
So let's dive right into, I'm a parent, I have a 15-year-old, and while these incidences, many of them have the targeted or known to police or known to one another tag associated with them, I'm still nervous. Can you speak to the safety of transit currently in Metro Vancouver? How worried should we all be?
First, I'm going to start off with saying the transit system is safe. What we have seen here is a rash of incidents, and it's an aberration. It goes, and I'm not trying to just focus in on statistics. We need to look at what the perception is of safety as well, and that reassurance to the public that it is safe to be there. We would never want to be in a position of telling someone that something was safe when it wasn't. Right. And at the same time, we don't want to say that it is unsafe when it actually is. The transit system every day moves 400,000 plus people, where over 80% of our COVID ridership has returned. And that 400,000 people equate to approximately, if everyone takes 2 trips, 800,000 journeys a day that occur. What we ended up here with was a rash of incidents. And I agree, they're serious, and they were, they're frightening to some people. And at the same time, though, as we look at it, is that there was no connection. It was like 5 acts between individuals who didn't, I want to say, know each other per se. Maybe some of the victims and the people in the individual incident knew each other, but they're not connected. Like, this isn't a gang issue. This isn't a group of individuals or something. They were spread out between SkyTrain and bus routes, and some of these bus routes had no prior incidents of concern raised with us.
And Chief, here's the problem, because immediately people say there should be a police officer on every bus and every SkyTrain. I mean, that's frankly impossible. Can you run the numbers for us?
Yeah, sure. There's when we think of that, the transit police look after, from the C-Bus, West Coast Express, the bus routes, and SkyTrain, of course. Our jurisdiction really goes over about 1,800 square kilometers, from the North Shore to the Mission area to South Surrey out to UBC in terms of it. On a given day, there's about 145 or more kilometers of SkyTrain routes that are going. There's up to 1,100 bus routes that are occurring every day. So we recognize that the public is reassured by the visibility of having a police officer or security individual there. But reality says we can't be everywhere all the time. So we rely on complaints, our own intelligence-led, where issues are. So we either focus on problem areas, problem routes, or individuals.
So let's talk about vigilance then. What can we do as citizens when we either witness something that we know is wrong, or we see something escalating? Can we take action? A lot of people who may have stepped in years gone by feel like they kind of need to stand back because it is such an escalated tension, if that's the right way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in fact, one thing we've seen here, and we've looked at it, and it's occurred in incidents off the transit routes as well, people are quick to pull out their phones and almost record incidents and to capture some video. But what we need to do is ask people is to report it. When they see something happen, report it before you record it, really is kind of this line we've come up with. And, there are a lot of resources in around the system that can help us and guide us. One, to get the right resource there when we do have something. And two is there's lots of people around who could report something that they see escalating. So if it's a disturbance or feeling unsafe or witnessing other people perhaps engaged in something that you see is concerning, we even offer what I think is one of the most unique services that even across the country is we monitor texting live. So there's a texting number, 877777, where people can text us, because it's not surprising to have people with their phone out in their hand.
Right.
They might feel uncomfortable putting it up to their ear and making a phone call, but by texting us live and just even indicating it, what we need to realize is we have the ability, we know where the SkyTrain cars are, we know where the GPS on the buses are. They'll ask you for a number that says, can you look up in the corner of the bus, give us the number, look up in the corner of the SkyTrain car. We have the ability to stop those. We have the ability to put them in a location, stop them at a station, pull to the side of the road, and then ensure whether it be the transit police or the jurisdictional police, we can get the nearest and closest unit to that location that would assist us.
Wow, that's a big one. 877777, right?
Right, that's correct.
Okay, that's a good one.
You were talking earlier about these cases not being connected. Thank God we don't have some major, gang issue that's,
Taking over
rolling
transit.
out over transit. But I did read today in the National Post that it's not just the transit system here in BC, it is the transit systems right across the country. And some people are connecting it potentially to the pandemic that a lot of people went through, a lot of insecurity, some drug use, some mental health issues, some, housing insecurity that is sort of all burbling into a bigger societal problem. I mean, can you just talk about that and what you're seeing?
Yeah, so I think that they've hit on it, right? Our society is changing, and it changed the COVID. We have these major events that occur, and one of them is, COVID, which brought it, how we went to work or didn't go to work, or how we shopped and moved about. And we became more conscious about even the space around us, how close people got to us, how we felt comfortable in a crowded location. In addition to that, it is clear that across this country and from the policing perspective, that mental health and addiction issues are more and more prevalent in the interactions that police officers are having and that we're experiencing for a variety of reasons. And, we've tried to, and we continue to work on it, that it's not a crime to have a mental health concern, and it's not a crime to be homeless or even to be addicted. But the behaviors and the crossovers at times, I think, are making people feel uncomfortable in these environments. And again, as we indicate, it's almost like I say, transit brings people together who don't know each other. Sometimes, as we've said, there are some familiarization between the victim and the suspects in some of the cases, but we bring a lot of people together who don't know each other and have to either spend time with each other, interact, much like, although you become more familiar with it, it's like schools. We put a lot of people together in a location here. And when people, there's the mental health components and that, and perhaps we see that stress level occurring, it becomes a challenge as to when's the appropriate time to intervene, what is that risk, and when is a person potentially, and they might not know it themselves, escalating in their own behavior, that they're going to do something that's very inappropriate.
Let me follow up with that, if you don't mind, because I wouldn't know. We've all become a little bit numb, I think, to somebody who might be in some level of distress, but maybe not wanting to be bothered. Maybe they're okay. We're kind of walking by it. We're stepping over it, if you will. Should we be calling that 877777 number if we see somebody who's maybe having a trip of some sort, or perhaps wandering around and speaking out, having a mental break of some sort? Is that reportable? Because I might think to myself, I don't want to bother your officers, or it's not right. What's the threshold for calling it in?
So generally, what I say is, if you feel uncomfortable or think it's not right, I don't want to use different words. Like if you're sensing that somebody should talk to this person, like we're not asking people to intervene. Someone should help this person. This person looks like they need some help. is letting us know. And by the way, we, as I gave you the texting number, always never forget that in the event of an emergency, there's 911 and there
Right.
are
Of course.
non-emergency police numbers.
Yeah.
But letting us know, because one of the things, you have to realize is that there are a lot of staff throughout the transit system. And, and when you speak to like not bothering us, that's our whole role.
Yeah.
The policing across the country, we're here for the public. We don't make a product. We don't produce a widget. We are here to respond to concerns that people are, and let us then evaluate whether there's a risk or there's not a risk. But also, there's a lot of times we want to make sure we're there because we can help the individual.
Yeah.
We've all seen that role of policing these days, of trying to reach out and get them that access. And that's probably a whole new episode on challenges of getting people
Right.
Come back. Yes.
getting the assistance that they need. But we would rather you have that. And of course, across the system, I want to say in transit, we like to come up with saying, like, you're never really alone on the system. Like, even if you're sitting at a remote bus stop and you were concerned, you could text us and we'd be answering you.
That's great to know. That's great to know.
When you're on a bus, there are other passengers, there's the bus driver. There's transit security that operate throughout the system. There are station attendants. And as I've said, and there are a variety of cameras and other video technologies that are available for us to ensure that that people are safe, and that if there is something and we need to dispatch somebody, we'll get them there as quick as we can.
Just before I let you go, I know that the chiefs are going to be meeting with the premiers on Friday. Are you part of that? And if so, what's the one thing you want to tell the premiers?
Well, I think the premiers, what we've said is they need that support, right? So we need to look at both how bail reform is being looked at in terms of it, and we need to look at these supports, mental health, treatment on demand when we're able to get it for individuals. We're not looking to solve the issues we're having through the use of criminal code or the criminal laws. We want that, as policing goes out there, and we're on the front end of it, but we need to be able to take the individuals or assist the individuals as to where they can go. Now, having said that, there are some people who have committed violent acts or prolific offenders in some manner that may need that kind of custodial type approach to finding out how they can be supported. And there is an underlying factor always of keeping the public safe.
Right. Amen. Chief Dave Jones, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate you joining us, and best of luck on your pending retirement this fall as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Thanks so
Dave.
much. That is Transit Police Chief Dave Jones.
All right, still to come on the show. What the hell is wrong with people is all splattered in paint. And I guess vandalism in the buff will get you some attention. Thankfully, though, our happy ending will make everybody feel better.
Yes, and up next, flying with kids can be challenging, but whose job is it to clean up after them if they make a mess on board? The debate has millions, tens of millions of people weighing in.